Welcome to the Purity Pulse podcast, your go-to podcast for the natural health industry and everything Purity Life.
I'm Erin Macklin.
And I'm Julie Drapeau.
And today we're going to do our regular weekly check-in. We are going to interview Matthew James, the one and only president and CEO of Purity Life.
Absolutely.
And then we'll do a little interesting new to Purity Life afterwards.
So Erin, tell me, what's happening?
Well, my week has been a little bit more leisurely than most.
Yes.
So we're right in between that time where the kids are home, and I've taken a few days off of work between Christmas and New Year's. So that's been nice. We've been enjoying some time outside.
So what do you do outside?
I mean, with the snow, there's lots to do.
Yes.
My kids like to go sledding. We've got a bit of a hill at a scout camp that's really close to our house. But it always makes me a little bit paranoid because sledding, they can get really into it. My husband can get really into it. But for me, there's always a bit of paranoia because when I was younger, I got a concussion sledding. Pretty solid one. So I had gone sledding with a few of my friends. I think I was probably, 13 or something like that. And we had a big hill up near my parents' house. It was on a water reservoir. So we went, and apparently, the rest of the story I actually don't know. I've only been told because I don't remember.
You don't remember it? That's what I was to say. You lost track of what happened.
Never got that memory back. But apparently, I asked somebody if we could borrow their tube sled.
Okay.
And went on that with a couple of girlfriends, and somehow or another bashed my head either on the ice or on somebody else's head or whatever. It hurt enough, all of us, that we were like, okay, we're done for the day. Let's go home. So we went to go walk to my parents' house, which is probably, 10-minute walk. Like it's a number of blocks down. So we go to walk back from the hill, and I kind of look around and I'm like, wait, where are we? What are we doing? My friends are kind of looking at me like, what's going on? And I'm realizing that I don't even know where we are at this point. So we get home to my parents' house, and I don't know what day it is. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. So I think
People
pretty
think
much
they're tricking. You're tricking them or making.
I mean, I think I had done it so much already on the whole way home. I'm pretty sure that they immediately probably took me to the emerge at that time, got checked out. But so when this had all happened, it was New Year's Eve. So my friends had come over to my parents' house for New Year's Eve. So after we got back, I spent the next 24 to 48 hours. I would be confused as to what day it was. I would come out into our living room, and at the time we had a Christmas tree up. So every time I would come out to the living room, I would say, "Oh, it's Christmas," and then I would say, "Did we do presents? What did I get?" And then they would answer, and then I would say, "Oh, why are my friends here?" They would say, "Well, it's New Year's Eve," to the point where they wrote down the answers for me because I was doing it every time that I would walk out there asking all of these same questions. So they had just written down, they're like, read the paper.
Oh my God. And how long did it last? Like, till you really came back to?
I mean, it was at least 24 hours. But yeah, like that whole kind of segment, I still actually don't remember the part on the hill. Yeah.
That's serious.
Nuts.
So that's why you're looking at, okay, we're going sliding.
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
now I watch sledding, and I watch my children sledding. I'm like, okay, but just be careful, okay? I'm kind of paranoid about what can happen. Especially, I mean, I think even more now we know the damage that concussions can do, right? And my kids are both in hockey. Like, we got to avoid those as much as we possibly can.
Well, you look at all that industry that, therapists that, came about just that, and footballers that there was nothing. Oh, no, you fell off. That's all
fine.
good.
Just keep going.
Your memory will come back.
Yeah.
So but it's funny you say that because I was quite of a daredevil when I was young. I could jump off the roof and snow and everything. And my mom was like, oh my God, again. And my sister was trying to following me, but she was the one who was getting injured all the time.
Right.
For some reason, I was saved by God. I don't know. But I did have a concussion as well. But it didn't last long for me, and that's why I'm so shocked, because I remember I was in school and we were sliding and somebody hit me in my head, just bang right on the ice.
Right.
And they took me in, went back home, and my mom had to wake me up every 30 minutes to say, what's your name? What's your name?
Yeah.
And I got so fed up. I said, why are you waking me up? You know my name. Why are you asking me that? Exactly. I got aggressive. So I didn't get that fear of sliding, but that's very unusual.
Yeah,
so that's cool to do some fun stuff like that during the holidays.
We'll encourage them to do a little bit more snowman building.
Yeah. Yeah, don't bring them to me because they might do something crazy because I'm still as crazy with the snow. And I love
believe it. I believe it.
Welcome, Matthew. We're very excited to have you on the podcast. And so we would like to know a little bit more about your background and also how Purity has grown through the 40 last year.
Well, thank you very much for having me on the podcast. I feel very honored to be one of your special guests, given all the guests you've had so far over the many episodes that have become very popular. In terms of the last 40 years of Purity Life, there's been so many things that have happened over the last 40 years. I've been through the last 21 of those 40 years. It's gone from being a very entrepreneurial husband and wife, private company, to a public company, a part of Synopta, to a management buyout, part of a private equity group that we are in right now and have been for the last 11 years. And it's been quite a ride, but I can tell you one thing that has been consistent throughout that whole ride is that innovation is what has driven that business, our business, Purity Life's business, over the last 40 years. There's been so many brands that we've seen just up and down, up and down. That's really what has driven the growth of Purity Life. And I could probably think of 10 off the top of my head that have helped drive our growth. And the interesting thing is now it seems like the life cycle now, a lot of these brands is getting much shorter and shorter.
Yeah, true.
And there's just more and more of them that are coming, and there's more and more demand for innovation. But that's definitely the history of Purity Life, is innovation has driven our growth over the last 40 years.
And what about you?
What about me?
Yeah, what about you? How did you come into the industry? I know that some, I'm sure, listeners and viewers know a bit of your story, but what brought you in natural?
That's a great question. It definitely is all about a personal interest I have in natural health products. I remember I had been working for this young gentleman, taking care of him. He was disabled. I lived with him for 5 years. 24/7, 365, and I went to university at the same time. And as I was kind of wrapping that up, I was getting very focused on nutrition. I was taking a bunch of nutrition courses at university at Western, and really focusing on my health. And decided, wow, if I could find a job that actually was all about this, that would be wonderful. And I stumbled across this little ad. This was very old school, where there's actually ads in the paper for listings of jobs. It's not like now on Indeed.
Remember those
and all
years?
that. Yeah, those
Yeah,
years.
phone numbers
the
and
classified ads. So you'd open up the paper and, oh, look, there's this job. They're looking for a sales rep, Quest Vitamins.
Did you cut it out?
I probably did. And
Fax your resume.
I literally, that's what I did to apply for the job.
It was
And,
handwritten on lined paper.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, back then. And I was fortunate enough to get a job as a sales rep for Quest Vitamins, and that's really how I started in the industry, driven by my passion and interests, and here I am today.
Yeah, that's awesome. And through Purity, you started at what position when you got into Purity?
So I worked at this company, Boehringer Ingelheim Quest, for a number of years. They got sold. I went to another company for just 3 or 4 months called Pangeo Pharma. They had a whole bunch of issues. And then I approached David, who had just recently bought a brand called Nature's Harmony, and was looking for some help. And all my experience was on the brand side, not on the distribution side. And
Right.
David was trying to bring on more brands, and so he brought me
So
on.
this is when David Chapman already had founded Pure
Correct.
Life and was running the company.
Yeah, in 2002. So him and his wife, Elise, were running the company. They were thinking about selling at the time. I remember them talking to me
Really,
about
already?
that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and they said, oh, this might come up. It never came to fruition until 2006, maybe I guess it's 4 years later. But I came in and helped them rebrand Nature's Harmony. We launched a new brand, Vivitas. We bought a brand called Herbon. We relaunched
Yes.
another one called RX Balance. We bought a manufacturing facility
Yeah.
called
Wow.
New Nutritional. So
Lots
a lot
of movement
happened.
then.
And then we actually bought Quest Vitamins, the brand I was
Yes,
working
that's
for.
right.
Yeah, in 2006.
Full
So
circle.
And we
it
did
was a full circle.
advertisement on TV. I remember those
We
years.
did, yes, that's right, with the teen multis. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes.
right.
Oh, a long way.
Oh,
So
yes.
from there, you got to which other level? What was your position or title at that point?
So as the business was getting ready to be sold to Synopta at that time, so pre-2006, they wanted me, David, that is, and Elise, to sort of be the general manager underneath David, who was still the president.
Right.
And so I held that position for about 5 years until David's contract with Synopta ended, and then I became the president of Purity Life. So I guess that would have been around 2010-ish,
Yeah.
approximately.
Yeah, because I think you must have then been general manager when I came on, because I remember coming on and then sitting down and interviewing with you as part of the process as well. But that was still when David Chapman was there as president.
Yeah,
so
well,
right
clearly
around that
you are
time.
younger than me because you have a better memory than me.
You don't
I don't
remember
recall
interviewing
that. I'm sad.
I remember some of the
I'm sorry to
questions
say
you asked.
that. Yes, no, I don't remember that.
I
but
think
that's
I
good.
think you still interview people in the same way, because I think that the way you interview often is wanting to see what you can learn from those people as well to advance the business. Because I
Yes.
remember one of the questions that you had asked me at the time was, what's one of my favorite? So I'm coming at a retailer. I had experience with a lot of different suppliers and what they were doing. And so you would ask me what are one of my favorite suppliers and what were they doing that was different and that made me really like them.
Wow.
And I feel like I've heard you ask similar questions to other people that you've kind of initially come in contact with. I feel like you're always looking for who can offer an edge, who's got some ideas, what way could we really kind of pivot to and improve on.
I think for those who know Matthew would say that definitely innovation is a constant word, and I think that speaks also to what purity is all about, constantly. So would you be able to talk a little bit about that needs or that want or that desire that you constantly have and why it's so important?
For sure. I mean, I think there's two aspects to it. There's the one aspect I spoke of, which is innovation in the products that we distribute. That's been the fuel for Purity Life, whether it's been the Lakota days, Atkins days, the
Lakota, yeah.
Selba days, the Celicine days, the Love Good Fats. I mean,
Come
there's so
and
many
go.
Smart Sweets. There's been so many over
Yeah.
the years, and every one of them has helped drive growth, and it's that innovation in the products. But now we've focused a lot on the innovations in the processes and systems at Purity Life. So the software that we use, the different processes we use with the various departments to move things through our system as efficiently as possible. We've become a much larger labyrinth of a business
Right.
with 4 distribution facilities, 163 employees. And to make things as easy to do business with as possible for our customers, we have to be very, very efficient. So a lot of the innovation that we've been focused on most recently, which includes AI and other very specific software initiatives, have been put in place to achieve the reality that everyone wants us to do more for less, and we want to be easy to do business with at the same time. And so innovation is the lifeblood of Purity Life, whether
Yeah.
it's the products that we
Yes.
distribute or all the processes and systems that are a part of our business.
Oh, very good.
So I know innovation has always obviously been a big thing. Have there any, over your experience, can you kind of recall any specific pivot or any specific change that is really, you can remember as kind of a game changer for us that have really propelled us forward?
Well, certainly. I think the biggest thing, there was this period in 2006 where, if David Chapman was here, the original founder, he would talk about this and lament those days a little bit where a group of us decided, okay, we're going to pivot from being a distributor to a branded company.
Oh,
and so
yeah,
this is
remember.
where we went out and we bought all these brands. We had
Yeah.
6 brands. We bought our own manufacturing facility. We were going to be vertically integrated, which is the buzzword kind of at the phrase at the time. And we did that all just as the economy was imploding
Right.
in 2009, and that turned out to be a pretty disastrous few years that accelerated the aging for all of us that were at Purity running things at the time.
All white hair coming
Yeah, it
faster.
was a very, very stressful time. And at that time when Synopta owned us, they'd kind of had enough.
Right.
And that's when they put us up for sale. And so the pivot really came when the business was put up for sale to go find a partner and say, okay, here is our strategy to turn this business around. And so we presented this very clear strategy and say, which it's not rocket science, but it was basically going back to what
Our
we were
roots.
good at
Yeah.
doing,
Yes, yes.
being a distributor
Yeah. Yes.
of other
Really
people's
well.
products and not creating conflicts with their brands, not getting into manufacturing. So we basically, over a relatively short period of time, shut down brands, gave brands away, sold them sort of through these distribution agreements, sold off some equipment, and gave away our manufacturing facility.
Big changes in a short period of
oh,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
turning the boat and needed to turn the
It
boat
was.
quickly.
Yeah, we didn't want to turn it into the Titanic. So,
No.
yeah, we moved quickly and really just focus on the core of what was Purity Life to begin with, which is a pure play distributor. And that's what we continue to do today.
Did you get immediate buy-in for that kind of a change? I mean, like it was already a decent sized company at that point. That's a massive pivot to kind of get people on board with. Were there any issues with that?
Not at that time,
Save
because
the
everyone
boat.
was pretty desperate
Yeah.
to turn things around.
Save the
'Cause
boat
we
time.
were, we had hit the iceberg and the
Yes.
boat was about
Right.
to
Yeah.
go underwater, and so this was all hands on deck to turn things around
Right.
and patch the holes.
So people were looking for that idea and they just
Oh,
wanted to
yeah.
run
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so
The buoy.
we
Yeah.
interviewed with a number of private equity companies.
Yeah.
It was pretty tough for them to look at our financials and say, I'm not sure if we're going to make a bet on you.
Right.
We've only had about 1 month of profitability and all these negative months
Years.
prior to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But fortunately, Jeff Weigel at Banyan at the time, he was intrigued by the plan, and he decided, okay, we're going to make a bet on Purity Life. And
Yeah.
I can tell you, if he was sitting here today, he has not regretted that bet.
Yeah, it certainly
Very
worked.
happy.
It's interesting to look back on that and then see the success that we've come to.
Definitely.
Refocus on what you're good at, not trying to be jack of all trade to end
Very
up being
true.
master of none, right?
Very true, yes.
So we have very, I think, exciting things coming in 2024.
Indeed.
Big year for Purity Life.
Yes. Would you
Indeed.
like to share with us?
Well, 40 years of bringing innovation to Canadian retailers. So
40
we are going to be
40 years.
celebrating those 40 years with 4 different tabletops in our 4 different warehouses so that we can celebrate with our employees that work
Yeah.
in each of the warehouses, as well as celebrate with our retailers, our general business partners being vendors, brokers, and retailers.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive when we think about that, the longevity and going through, the ups and downs and totally shifting around. I think one strength at Purity is never to stand still and never waiting. It's always like, what's next,
Yeah.
and getting better. And so that's great that we can celebrate, not only, as you mentioned, with our team, everybody that makes Purity who Purity is, but also our partner through the years that, adapted, pivoted with us
Yeah,
and change
yeah,
and
that have been
swing
along for the
around.
ride.
Exactly.
Yes. And we have brands that have been with us through that whole 40 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Lavalin being the one that actually Purity started with.
Started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and still with us today.
Yeah. And Aaron, I think you have the date. I think that would be great to
Yeah,
mention
so
the date exactly.
we're really, really excited about this because we're going to have an event in each one of our distribution centers. So a couple of different areas geographically. The first one's going to be in Vancouver. So that one's on February 6th. Then we're going to do one in Laval on May 8th. We're going to follow that with Calgary, June 5. And then we're going to have kind of our big finale
Closure.
at Acton, our head office, on November 6th. So throughout the whole year, we'll have different ways to celebrate, and we'll be able to bring in all of our business partners.
Exciting.
Yeah, that was important for us to really cover all the areas to celebrate across Canada. So not just being one big event in Ontario, but so hopefully we'll see many of our retailers and vendor partner attending.
It's going to be a big, exciting year for sure.
Yes.
Definitely.
We'll see. So even in our upcoming April, May, June magazine, there
yeah.
will be a QR code so people can register for the events, and we'll have it up on puritylife.com, and we'll be sending an e-blast out as well. So
Very
retailers and vendors and all of our partners can check out those e-blasts and sign up for the events. We'd love to see lots and lots of people out.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
So now let's get on to some little fun question for you,
Yeah.
Matthew. Something
Ready,
lighter.
ready
I
for
love it.
rapid fire,
Yes.
Matthew?
I'll do my best.
Okay, this one should be kind of easy.
Yes.
What's been one of your biggest highlights in your time at Purity Life?
Well, definitely turning the business around for the benefit of all the employees that we employ, and also what that has resulted in terms of new employees and the opportunities created for people. I mean, if we weren't part of a larger company at the time, it's unlikely we would be around today to talk about this and have this podcast. We would be all doing something else. And so I think that's probably the thing that I would say for all the employees that went through that we're the most proud of, because they were some difficult times. We turned things around, focused on the simple things of doing what we're good at, being a distributor, and has definitely paid dividends for us. And here we are today.
Excellent.
Amazing.
So when you're not working, what do you like to do in your, we'll call it spare time, or between the time you work?
Well, I think, as you know, Julie, we do
think I
a
do.
lot of CrossFit together to really just focus on try to slow the aging process and live as long as possible, independently as possible.
Lifting our suitcase on our own,
That's right,
zipping our
yes,
pants and doing
yes.
all of those things.
If anything that we learned from COVID is you want to be able to live independently and healthy and as long as possible, and add not years to your life, but life to the years that you are here continuing to live. And so that's what we do. We do a lot of CrossFit just to do that, achieve that goal.
Integrating within the travel and the work.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
right.
intertwined all the time.
I remind myself that every time I'm in the middle of the workout suffering, I say, why am I doing this? It's so painful. I think, oh, right, because I
This
want to
is
be able to live
why.
independently for a long period
Just
of
like
time.
this morning.
Yeah, like this morning.
Just like this morning.
Doing all those deadlifts.
Yeah.
I know that's something that I don't know if that's been within the last decade, that's really been a big passion for yourself. Has that been something that's been kind of in your head for much longer than that? Like, that leads me to kind of come back to what you had said was your first experience when you were at school,
Sure.
being an aide to that person that needed so much help.
Yeah.
Do you think that any of that even comes back to that time frame for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I was doing triathlons all the time, and I worked out a lot when I was with this young gentleman. And then as I got immersed in my other career at Purity Life, as I transitioned from the other one, and things started getting very stressful and difficult on both fronts, at home with a marriage that was failing, and then at work with a business that was failing. It became very stressful, then sort of fall off the rails with fitness and just trying to do whatever you can to survive, basically, to then Julie and I meeting, getting married, and realizing, okay, we got to get back on track here if we want to be
Right.
together for a long period of
Yeah.
time, or I'll be like the classic person, hit 50, have a heart attack, and drop dead. So
Not too
and
positive.
we
That's
had-
what keeps it real in this podcast.
well,
Yeah.
I remember
And that's a
going
reality, yeah.
going to this health clinic that I had gone to, and the guy saying to us there, hey, you know what? Your goal should be to be as healthy as possible by the time you're 50, because most people, when they hit 50, that's like a wall, and it's all
Right.
downhill really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You've
all
got that
all
kind
the
of basic building
Yeah.
block. And
all the abuse that you've put your body under, it's going to come back and
Right.
haunt you when you hit 50. And said he looked at all my blood work and everything, and he's like, so where you are right now, you're on that path. So you can choose to stay on that path, and you hit 50, that's going to be
Wow.
the wall, and it's going to be downhill, or you can choose a different path. So I said, okay, great advice. And so I chose a different path,
Wow.
and here I am today.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you make
55
it
next month.
sound so easy, because it's just, and then I chose and
Yeah.
we just did, but
Well,
I
it's
think
just
we
a
all know that
decision.
it's so much bigger than
But
that.
but it's true though, because it's just a decision.
Right.
You need to make the switch. And, you know, I've been helping people, you know, in their health journey, and it is the decision
Yeah.
is I stop smoking or no.
Yeah.
And if it's important enough, you'll make
Yeah.
that decision.
Yeah.
And it's cutting from other choices,
Yeah.
basically. And that's basically definitely what we did. We got married. We went to south of France. We enjoy ourselves. And we said, when we come back,
Now we're doing.
we're on it.
Yeah.
And the fact that both of us were decided
Yes.
makes it much
Yeah.
easier, because
definitely, yeah.
it's not, oh, I don't feel like it. We don't even
But you,
think
but you
about
do still
it.
make that
We do.
decision every day. I mean, even like
Always.
you said, you don't always feel like going to work out, but you're making that decision.
Yeah.
Okay, this
Yeah.
is
We don't
this
even
is what
talk
my
about
goal is.
it.
This is
Well,
what's
you have to know what
happening.
your why is. Like, why
Yes.
are you
Yeah.
doing it? So, like
Yes.
I
Yeah.
said, when you're suffering the workout, you feel like you don't want to go or whatever, you just remind yourself, well, okay, I don't want to end up in a nursing home. I don't
Right.
want to have to end up having to rely on somebody all
Yeah.
the time, or
Yeah.
wearing diapers when I'm,
Yeah.
70. So what do? I got to
Yeah.
exercise every day, and I got to eat well. If I
Yeah.
do all those things, they'll
Yeah.
pay off over time. Brushing your teeth once a day or once does nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you do it 365 days in
Yeah.
a row, you won't get a cavity. Well, it's just like fitness and eating
Great
healthy and all
analogy.
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I can't claim that as my own. I heard it from somebody
Yeah.
else.
Oh, you could.
We use it. It works. It
Just
works.
trying to be honest.
So, what's something that our listeners and those of us that work with you would be surprised to learn about you? What's something we don't know?
I alluded to it earlier, but when I was 18, this gentleman that I knew from high school was in a very bad car accident with one of my friends, and he had suffered a pretty severe, very severe brain injury that resulted in him having seizures every day, basically. And his family, there was tore the family apart, so to speak, over time, and it was difficult for them. So they asked me if I would come and live with him and take care of him. His mother was a politician at the time, so she was in Toronto, busy working, and his father was a professor. And so I agreed, and so I lived with him for 5 years,
Wow.
24/7, 365.
Traveling too.
Traveling
Yeah.
all
Oh,
over
really?
North
Yeah.
America.
When
the
there was no
Caribbean.
GPS maps.
That's right. Through Europe with no GPS, no maps, nothing.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Was
no
he of
cell
similar
phone.
age to you then?
He was just a year younger than I was.
So you had known him before the
Yes.
accident?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And so every morning I'd be there when he'd have a seizure in the morning and catch him basically so he wouldn't wipe out, whether it would be in the shower or whatever. And then when we traveled, he used to have these grand mal seizures, which were much more dramatic, especially for the people around.
Right.
Pretty nerve-wracking
Yeah.
for the people
Not
around because you
knowing.
think the person's going to die. But yeah, we did a lot of very unique things. We drove all through Canada, the U.S., from coast to coast, north and south, all through Europe, Caribbean. It was quite
Just
an
living
adventure.
life, like just
Yeah.
eating
Yeah.
it all up.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it was basically just to keep him interested and active and trying to live as normal a life as possible. He ultimately succumbed to the injuries related to the accident when he was about 44, I think. So about 10 years ago, approximately-ish. But yeah, those were formative years for me, just figuring out how to do things on my own.
Yeah.
And how to be, how to
Well,
be,
not even just
Stay
like
calm
you
in
needed
a
your own
crisis.
independence, but then
Yeah.
also having somebody who's so reliant on you to
Oh,
be
yeah.
independent for them too.
Well,
It's
that's one
crazy.
of Matthew's big strength too. I think that staying calm, even though there's a crisis
Yes.
moment.
Yeah.
That's really something that you might have developed there, but I think that it shows in day to day as well.
Matthew is pretty level.
Yeah, no,
you're pretty
exactly.
level all the
Anything
time.
happen, it's like keep it in, but it's.
Well, there's
very,
no better way to get trained than having someone have a massive grand mal seizure, and people are just like freaking out all
Yeah.
around, and you're just trying to make sure that he doesn't choke and
Yeah.
swallow his
Yeah.
tongue or something.
So many travel that we did, Matthew and I've made him, make sure that he was keeping on track. I passed out many times, and Matthew had to pick me up, and
He's just like,
so
I got this.
yeah, no, exactly. I just wanted to make sure that he was still good with his skills. So
Yeah.
it's check, all done.
Yeah, no, I valued that time, although it was difficult, and we finally,
Yeah.
after 5 years, said, okay, that was enough. We had to go on with our lives. I had to go on with mine, and Kevin needed to go on with his.
Right.
But
It's
I
dedication.
certainly value the time I had there.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was
What an
unique,
experience.
very unique.
Wow.
Yeah, that's dedication because you had to live with them all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So it's hard, especially at that age time. It's fun because you travel and you experience things, but you have limitation.
Yeah.
Not never knowing when the person's gonna, pass out or being too. It's having somebody's life in your hands, basically. So
Yeah, we did
Impressive.
a lot of very unique and crazy things together. But we survived the 5 years.
I see
in
the
a-
smile
maybe
on
in a
the
follow-up
souvenir.
podcast, we'll find out what some of those crazy,
Oh.
unique things were. I feel like that's an opener to a
Amsterdam
whole
trips
other
that
thing.
I heard of. So. To end up our little question rapid fire, what are you most proud of?
Well, I think that, as I alluded to earlier, it's really providing opportunity to people to have a career at Purity Life. And those aren't people that are just here now at Purity, but also people that have been at Purity and have left to go on to do other things and be very successful. And so to continue that that journey for the business that David and Elise started by providing opportunity, employment to people and opportunities for them to grow. And have somewhere that they want to come in to work every day and contribute. I mean, I think that's one of the things I'm probably most proud of as it relates to just the business side of things at Purity Life and what we've achieved.
Thank you.
And we'll
As
continue
you-
to
as you
achieve.
should.
Yes, we will. Exactly.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks so much for being here, Matthew. That
My
was
pleasure.
fantastic. I really liked to get in those questions and learn a little bit more about
Yes. Thank you for your time. Very much appreciated.
My pleasure. Thank you.
you. And hold tight as we go through the 40th year.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
we're
that's
ready.
right. Looking forward to seeing all the retailers and our business partners there.
All right, it is that time again. It is time for New to Purity Life. So in this episode, I want to tell you a little bit about the Method line. So Method is not a new brand, but it is certainly new to Purity Life.
Yes.
We've just picked up a whole slew of SKUs. They've got
Wide
a bunch of
range.
body care. They've got a bunch of household stuff, well known for their laundry and hand soap and all of that as well. But since this is a men's episode, we wanted to touch on the men's line they have, which is really nice. They've got 3 different scented body washes and 3 deodorants that we carry. What do we got here?
Juniper and sage, cedar and cypress.
Yeah.
Sea and Surf men's body wash. And Aaron has diligently took the product away from me. I
Yes.
couldn't smell it until this moment. So I'm quite
Julie
excited.
kept trying to grab it and smell it. And I said, no, I want you to smell it while we're live. Because I just smelled it and was like, ooh.
Yeah, her
Lovely.
reaction was, ooh.
But
So we'll
as
see.
we know, Julie and I really appreciate very different scents. So I'm now thinking you might not like it as much as I do, but I think this one in particular is very nice. This is the Juniper and Sage. The packaging is lovely. It's not a shiny bottle. It has kind of a soft finish to
Soft,
it.
yes.
And almost what would you call it? Like almost a khaki green for this one, eh?
Yeah, khaki green. And what is good for those who are listening, not watching, merchandising wise, the bottle is really different from everything that there's on the market. So it will stand out. And it's more of a sort of a faded color. It's not like that bright, shiny.
Yeah.
So it will be very different. And also what I like is it's 532 ml. So it's
a good size.
Yeah.
It's a good size.
And
Okay,
how
give it
about
a smell. Huh?
It's your scent. It's nice.
It's
honestly,
awesome. I
it's,
really like it.
I think it's a little for those who like the sort of the grassy kind
Yeah.
of freshy. That way
Yeah.
would be definitely.
Yeah.
You would love that.
The packaging's very masculine too. Although, I mean, really,
Yes.
either. It's so nice.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
So all of their stuff is cruelty free
That's great,
and
yeah.
biodegradable.
Yes.
And their bottle is
65%
There you go.
recycled plastic. So they're doing all the right thing. We talk about in trends, and we mention that often, that people buy for value in dollars and
Yeah.
values.
Values.
So they're very good at highlighting that as well. So not only the scents offered are touching every, I would say, whatever people like, but also the look. They are, they check all the boxes. And the price point is really good too. It's an
Yeah.
average price point.
Yeah.
So again, it really, I would say, compete with conventional, because conventional win in that category.
Yes. Yeah.
Where we didn't have as much offer, I would say, in our industry, but with Method that we just brought on is fantastic. And you're smelling right now the deodorant
Yes.
within the same scent. And,
it's very nice.
yeah.
It's a much lighter scent.
Yes, yes.
But they're just saying in there too that they've got some natural mineral odor eaters in there and whatnot too. So
Yeah, that's fantastic for, again, highlighting that, because we're in our men's health month or episode. I wanted to bring up to you a product that is not new to Purity Life, but I would say a staple to Purity Life.
Yes.
The Weleda aftershave lotion. And again, Erin and I are very different in this what we like as scent, but I think that this one
We'll
one
give
is,
this one a smell.
Yeah. Before I describe it. Yeah, right?
How will you describe that? That's tough.
I would describe it like when you go on the peak of Everest and you take a big, deep, fresh, smell. Not that I've been to Everest. I've been dreaming about going there since I'm 7 years old, but that's what I feel it's going to smell like when I
For
go
our
up
listeners, this smells like Everest.
Smell very fresh.
It is very nice.
Yeah, it's like a minty scent without being like that mint gum. But as soon as you smell it, it just opens up your airways, basically. So it's not heavy. And just
it's
to
a
mention,
lotion,
it's a
too.
lotion. So the benefit of using that product for those gentlemen out there, and even women who shave, it's fantastic on the skin. It really prevents the ingrown hair because it really soothes the skin. So instead of creating that inflammation after you shave, it's very, very soothing. So that's why this one by far is a big favorite in our home. And not only it serves as almost like a little natural perfume, but it really does soothe the skin for those who have sensitive, reactive skin. So, gentlemen out there, that's a very good one.
Not a new one, but a good one.
Exactly. So, another little product that I brought for newish to Purity Life is Prairie Natural. I think you've heard that they've launched their men's line. And it's quite important. I wanted to underline that they have all those supplements and stress and all of that. Just because, again, most of the time women's will go for their men's to buy their products. But now with that brand, it's easy for men to introduce those products for them. It's all within the same mix when you put it on the shelf.
Yeah, so this is nice and a nice, attractive but black bottle.
Exactly.
It says Men's Health on the top.
Yes.
It's the Men's Health line, and this one is Stress Force.
Yes, so it calls out the
men.
specific needs. Nothing complicated, because we know that gentlemen out there, when they walk the aisle, they want something that screams, so it's easy to understand. So that brand definitely has done a great job with that. So
some adrenals, tyrosine, rhodiola, and then B vitamins and whatnot as well. But yeah, specifically for men. That's neat. I like that.
So that's what's new to Purity Life this week.
All right, that's the end of episode 17. It was so fun to have Matthew here.
Yes, that was awesome.
All right, so don't forget to like and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram. We're Purity Life Health Products LP. I'm at Erin G. Macklin.
JD_Girl Power.
And send us your feedback. We want to know what you're thinking. marketing@puritylife.com. Next week, we're going to talk about preparing for a successful 2024.
I love that.
We'll see you then.